Ikkakumon's Harpoon Torpedo. The episode begins with Gomamon telling his partner Joe to simply chill out.
Hun, but chill out. Only you have a problem with the cold. Right, guys? Everyone think warm.
Come on, you guys. The cold isn't that terrible.
Perhaps not if you're a polar bear or a penguin.
Yeah, but if it snows, we'll throw some snowballs.
And make snowmen.
Who do you think Snowman is?
A Digimon from their planet. We could even build a snow fort.
You'll need one.
I bet I could beat you both blindfolded.
I want to build an igloo.
While everyone are talking about what they want to do if it snows, Joe tells them to get serious.
Come on, get serious. It'd be horrible if it started snowing right now.
Lighten up a little, Joe. We're just trying to look on the positive side of things.
Bleh. You know, if the temperature drops any lower than it is already, we won't be able to camp out anymore. We'll be frozen Digitrees.
Of course they don't want to listen to him, and Joe tells them fine, if you get cold toes, don't come crying to me.
That's right. Go ahead and laugh. But when your tootsies freeze, don't go crying to me. I'll just say I told you so. It is always better to be safe than sorry. Think first.
You see, as they continue to move forward, they come across the snow and...
You're just sitting here. If you walk...
Okay, you know what? I was going to say something until after the review, but I'm just going to have to point out the 4 things that are wrong in this opening. First, didn't they not just feel the earthquake as they were walking through the woods? Second, didn't they not see the fair amount of black ears that were just flying through the sky? Third, hey Gomamon, how can Joe listen to you when you're far away from him and your mouth isn't moving? Fourth, how are TK, Patamon, Mimi, and Palmon shivering on the dirt in the woods, but as soon as they reach the snow out in the open, it's...
You're just sitting here. If you walk...
Boy, the opening of this episode is making me bumble, fumble, and stumble right out of the gate. Let's see if I can try to get us back on track, shall we? As they continue to move forward, they come across the snow and the Digimon, and Izzy and Tai for some reason, smell steam and they deduce that it's a hot spring, and they run to it with excitement. When they get there, it's hot and boiling, but the water is dirty, and their hopes are dashed. Joe says they need to find something to eat, but there is nothing in sight.
Bucket.
TK says that there is, and points to a refrigerator out in the middle of nowhere, much to Joe's shock. Tai opens it up and finds a fridge filled with eggs. Hopefully they're not spoiled or anything. But before they can cook them and eat them, Joe makes his case.
Wait a minute, you shouldn't even touch them. We don't know if they're fit for human consumption.
Then I'll be the guinea pig. If I turn purple, you'll know they're not edible.
There's more to it than that. Even if they were edible, they don't belong to us. That'd make us all thieves. You gotta think about stuff like that, Tom.
You know, he does kind of have a point, you guys. However, the group ignores his case, and they cook the eggs and make bowls and chopsticks with the help of the Digimon.
Hurry, we want to eat.
Well then help out then, Mimi, gosh. So while they are having eggs for dinner, they make small talk about what they would like to put on their eggs.
If we had some ketchup to go with this, it would be perfect.
I love ketchup and eggs.
That sounds pretty gross to me.
No, it's not, believe me. Joe brings up the fact that if they were at home, ketchup wouldn't be a problem, which makes the kids homesick and depressed. Sora changes the subject and talks more about the eggs. Joe goes the kiss route by saying that he prefers his eggs with salt and pepper, and the kids continue what they would like to put on their eggs.
Matter.
I like soy sauce.
How about salsa?
Salsa's kinda good. A little tapatio, a little Tabasco sauce on it, pretty good.
How about a reality check?
I'll have mine with mustard and jelly beans, please.
How gross!
Jelly beans, that sounds good.
What? You're both weird.
My favorite is eggs topped with maple syrup. Yummy. Sometimes I like them with cherries on top.
After hearing a whole lot of interesting concoctions of what they would like to put on their eggs, Joe doesn't like the conversation and tries to keep it real, even though they were just trying to have some fun. Gomamon and Joe almost get into it after when Gomamon calls Joe a stick in the mud, and Matt breaks it off and calls him a basket case, which prompts him to throw rocks at the hot spring to clear his head. When Joe rejoins the group, he sees Matt and Tai argue on whether or not to climb Infinity Mountain.
It's the perfect spot. We gotta climb up there. It's the best view of the island.
Remember this soundbite later. Meanwhile, Matt makes a counterpoint and says that you may never know what dangers lie ahead up there. Joe tries to break up the fight, but gets dragged into it himself, and all three argue. Sora tells him to stop, and the Digimon and Sora suggest that they all sleep this one out, as they sleep in a nearby cave. As everyone besides Joe falls asleep, Joe takes it upon himself as the oldest one in the group to climb Infinity Mountain alone. However, Gomamon catches up with him, and Joe tells him to go back, but he refuses, even telling a little white lie that he says that he has some business to take care of up there. I'm pretty sure Gomamon's business is protecting Joe. As they climb the mountain, they take a quick rest, and then an earthquake happens, and more black gears fly out of the mountain. They go back to check out the area in which they came from, but they couldn't find them. As they continue to climb up the mountain, they come across today's monster, Unimon, who flies down the mountain and takes a drink. Joe is amazed by this, and Gomamon tries to speak to him, until suddenly a black gear flies down towards Unimon, impaling him through the back with a little piece of it sticking out, turning him evil, as he begins ready to attack.
Aren't you happy to see me?
I sure slept well. Huh?
I wonder where Sleepy Joe is.
Nah, that joke is all too easy. So Sora wakes up to try and look for Joe, but instead finds a letter written in the dirt from Joe saying that he was going to go climb the mountain alone and to wait for him, which prompts Sora to wake everybody up. Meanwhile, back on the mountain, Gomamon and Joe are running away from the Unimon from his aerial attack. With them being cornered, and just when you think it's curtains for the both of them, Digimon, Sora, Tai and Agumon come to their rescue. As Unimon is distracted by attacking Greymon and Digimon, Joe jumps on top of the Unimon to try to pry the gear off of him, but fails, and falls right off, and then...
It's time!
Gomamon, Digimon,
So Ikkakumon saves Joe and attacks Unimon with his Harpoon Torpedo and the attack connects, and Unimon is freed from the gear. After a post-congrats to Joe and Gomamon for saving the day, Joe, Tai, and Sora and their Digimon continue to finish climbing Infinity Mountain. And they do. And the episode ends with the kids reach the peak and learn that they are on an island. Well, I'm glad that revelation was worth it. Even though I found 4 problems in the beginning of this episode, I think I may have found some more. First of all, do y'all remember this scene?
It's the perfect spot. We gotta climb up there. It's the best view of the island.
Okay, now compare that to the last scene of this episode.
Not much out there.
Why the long face, Tai? Remember in the first episode when you were on the tree with your mini telescope in hand and you looked at the ocean trying to find another island or any sign of life? You know what you found? Nothing. Now, in this episode, you, Sora, and Joe pretty much almost risked your lives climbing up the mountain to do the same thing like you did in the first episode. And, much like that, did you know what you find? Nothing. So good to know that you and Matt were arguing for no reason, though I'm pretty sure you arguing had to move the plot along in order for Joe to Gomamon to do something on this episode. Now one could argue that Izzy should have told the group that they were on an island, with no other islands and signs of life in sight, ever since episode 5 when his laptop was going haywire and he briefly sees the map. Though in all fairness to Izzy, he did get distracted by the Digivice going off and Tetamon burning up like he just got sunburned or something, and I'm pretty sure he was going to say something with the kids when they regrouped at the factory. But, you know, Angemon happened. But what really baffles the mind is that he didn't even bother to bring that up when he was walking in the sewers with the group, in Toy Town with the group, walking through the woods with the group, in the snow with the group, eating at the dinner table, or in this case, the dinner flat top rock with the group, Matt and Tai arguing, or before they went to sleep right before Joe climbed the mountain and the possibility that he could be in danger. Wow, Izzy. All griping aside, this was a Joe Gomamon-centered episode. Even though I know the Digimon are like the kids' personality counterparts, I'll admit, I did like their chemistry back and forth in this episode, from arguing with each other at dinner, to working on getting along, climbing Infinity Mountain, and defeating Unimon made this episode passable for me to watch despite the aforementioned problems. With 6 kids and their Digimon already digivolved, one more kid and his Digimon remains. Will Tiki and his partner Patamon be next? Stay tuned.